Hello and welcome to Notes in 9. I'm David Leedy from LotusNotebook.com. Episode 19, XPages, Getting Column Totals from a View, Total Eclipse of the Columns. Okay, this is a show for XPage developers, obviously. Before we get into it, I've got a couple of announcements to make. The first big one is the free lug, I Am Lug, at St. Louis on August 2nd to 3rd. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to actually be giving a session this year. It's called XPages Beyond the Introduction. This is a brand new session for me. It's going to be kind of like I guess, an advanced intro, kind of getting more comfortable with it, getting a feel around. We're going to look at some tips and tricks, and going to do something kind of cool with JavaScript in the end. So I'm kind of excited about that. There's also going to be 3 other XPages sessions there. Matt White is doing one. Paul Calhoun is doing one using XML as the back end. I think Matt is doing a design pattern one, and Nathan Freeman and Tim Tripconi will be in the house, and they're going to be doing something that is probably going to be filled with eye candy. So that's going to be a very good event. And again, it's free on August 2nd to 3rd. I Am Lug. Now, the day after I Am Lug is this Tack It On day they're doing. Now, this is a paid day, and there's 3 different sessions. The one of the most interest is the XPages session. So Matt White, who does the wonderful XPages 101 training video website, is going to be there, and he's going to have a classroom day for you to get up to speed on XPages. This is a bring your own laptop day, and he's going to go over data binding themes. It's pretty much, I think, going to be an intro kind of class, but it should be very educational. I'm actually going to be there that day. I'm going to play the role of caddy and just try and help out where I can if anybody needs it. So this is a Matt White class based on the website and the other courses that he's done across the pond. So if you want to get up to speed in XPages even quicker, I highly recommend you checking it out. Okay, now in the middle of August is MW Lug at mwlug.com, and this is going to be in Cleveland, August 19th and 20th. And I'm going to be there again, and here I'm going to do 2 sessions, actually. I'm going to do the Beyond the Introduction session, and I'm also going to do a kind of a pure introduction to XPages, kind of getting started, like a little jump start. So I'm kind of excited about that. There's a lot of XPages sessions here. It's kind of like they're going to have their own track. So we've got starting XPages, avoid these 10 gotchas. Web technologies every Domino developer should know, which I don't think is going to be totally XPage focused, but if you're doing XPages, you're going to want to know these web technologies. What you need to know to get started with server-side JavaScript. Scott Good is going to be doing that one. XPages Workshop, building a sample application. This is going to be a hands-on lab by Mike McGrail from Sarnowski, I believe is the company name, and he does a great job with XPages, and he's going to be working with another guy, Roy, who is going to provide this hands-on lab experience. So that should be very educational. And Tim Tripconi will be there for the evolution of the possible, which is going to be another, I believe, kind of eye candy session. So be sure to check that out. Okay, now let's get on with the show. What I want to talk about today is first, the disclaimer. Of course, I want to talk about that because I'm using a beta version of Notes. I'm using 8.5.2 Code Drop 5, and it should be noted that IBM does not promise that any of the features that are in the beta will make it to the final shipping product. But if some of them don't, I'll probably jump out a window because there's pretty good stuff in there. So. Okay, so what do we want to talk about? View column totals. Let's get on with the demo. Okay, so what we want to do is be able to go into an XPage and pull in the value from a categorized view that's showing us totals. So we've got some totals here, and I want to be able to pass in a key, basically, and bring in this value. So let's see what that looks like on an XPage. If we go into a company here, we can see a company, and here's basically, like line items. So if we add a new line item, test 4, 9 for notes at 9, hit save. Okay, so we've got our line items here, and we've got this total, which is actually in a label control, which we can put in wherever we want, and isn't even tied to this view control that's on the page here. So we don't even have to show this view. We can just pull that in and do whatever we want with it. So let's see what that looks like. First thing I want to show you is an 852. There's a couple new options here in the UI. Filter by category name, and that's what you could do it before, but now it's a little prettier. So what I'm doing is basically I'm using a session scope variable for the key, and when this XPage is launched, I'm getting the key from up here and putting that into the scope variable, and that's how I'm showing just the items for this company. But that's not what we're here to see today. What we want to see is this label control. And what this is, it's server-side JavaScript, but quite honestly, when I started working this out, I started doing it in LotusScript because I hadn't done this in LotusScript that much, and it was just a little easier to work with. So what do we have here? We've got a view variable, and we're using database get view. And remember, session and database are always there for you. So unlike LotusScript, you don't have to go get them. They're just there. And then we're going to create a navigator, because I think navigator is the only way to get to these column totals for these categorized columns and everything. And then this is the problem. I did have some problems with this, and I saw Nathan Freeman on Bleed Yellow one night, and he kind of gave me some pointers here about this get previous. The problem is, if you want to get an entry, you can't get a category. You can only get an actual entry. So what you have to do is you have to get the first entry of your key that you're interested in, and then to go get the categorized totals, you have to back up one with your navigator. So we use get previous, and then with the entry. So we get the first entry, which is kind of like think of it as a document, and then we back up one. And then I do a little check here, and then what I return is entry get column values 2. And look at this syntax here. If you're using get column values, you need these parens, and then you put in which one you want. So this is actually the third column, so it starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2. So if we look at the view, 0, 1, 2. So I'm getting this column. Oops. And that's really the gist of it. So that lets you get this value. Thank you very much. And that's the demo. Thank you for watching. If you do want to contact me, here's my contact information. And I'll see you next time.